You just have a wave.
Jill.
She looks like she's got about 3 months worth of trouble.
Yeah, she's got
She
to
brought
dance.
another notepad, or bag of notepads.
Yeah, she's gonna have to dance her way up. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the Green Lake Township Board of Trustees regular meeting of December 9th, 2025 to order. Judy, could you do a roll call, please?
Biganowski. Yep. Kramer here. Radke.
Here.
West. Here. McDonald. Biondo is absent and excused. Merrick.
Here.
Very good. Before we go on to the next item, if you have any smart devices, I would make a request that you put them on silent or vibrate. That would be greatly appreciated. And it appears we might have school students here, so let's make sure we go 2.5 hours tonight, please. No, just kidding.
Trent, that's all on you.
Welcome, and thank you for attending. We'll try to make it as painless as possible. So if everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be greatly appreciated. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there any member of this board that wishes to alter the agenda, either by adding or removing?
Could we just remind the school kids that if you take a board packet in with you tomorrow to school and turn it into the teacher, you do get extra credit for that?
I was going to tell them at the end, that way they don't leave early.
Well, you still have to sign.
Okay, with that being said, we do have the approval of the consent agenda, which contains the minutes of November 11th, 2025, November 24th, 2025.
Have we done the agenda yet?
We stopped.
You started
We didn't
harassing
vote
the-
on
the
it.
people
Oh,
in the
yes,
audience.
she interrupted.
I interrupted.
Hearing no changes, move to...
Make a
entertain
motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Merrick, supported by West.
The presentation, we show 4 what we consider to be major funds, and then the non-major funds are aggregated, and those are individually are stated towards the back, and we'll talk about those later. So primarily here on pages 19 and 20, we're just going to talk about the 4 major funds. As I mentioned, this is the income statement, essentially, and I'll start our focus with on the general fund, which is on the far left-hand side, 3rd line up from the bottom. You can see we had a net change in fund balance this year of $173,895. So that's the 3rd line up from the bottom. The prior year, there was an increase of fund balance of about $67,000. So things are moving in a positive direction from a financial standpoint, general fund. Couple reasons. Revenues were up about $270,000 from the year before. 2 main culprits there. One was the federal grants. So the ARPA money that we had received several years ago, we don't recognize as revenue until we actually spend it. So there was a lot of federal expenditures this year related to those ARPA funds. And they're held back until we actually spend the money. So we did report $230,000 of federal grants this year. That was one, and the other item was the sizable donation that the township received. Some of that went to the general fund, some into a different fund. But those are the 2 reasons for the increase in fund balance, or the increase in revenues, which ultimately led to an increase in the fund balance. Fund balance in total, the very last line there, under general fund, at the end of the year, June 30, fund balance was $802,460. I think one of the metrics I've given you in the past is what does that equate to as a percent of your operating expenses? So basically taking that bottom number, fund balance, and divide it by your total expenditures for the year, that equals 46.75%, which is a pretty good number. I'm sure I've said it before, it's fairly normal for townships, especially since we're waiting several months before we collect property taxes again. So it seems like a sizable number, but it's actually pretty typical. So no issues with where the general fund's at. All in all, a pretty good year, and things are looking good there. Moving across the page, next fund is the public safety fund. We had an increase there of $570,000 in fund balance. Started the year at $734 and ended at just over $1.3 million. Prior year increase was $208,000. Talking with Marv when I was here for the audit, you know, that, and I've mentioned this in the past, that there's the capital needs in a fund like that, whether it be an ambulance or a fire truck, are significant, and they're not cheap. I'm not telling you anything you don't know in regards to that. Reading some of the minutes subsequent to the audit, I think in November, maybe October, one of the last couple months, you approved spending some of that money, I believe, on a fire truck. So that I think is in the works, and we'll probably see a decrease in fund balance next year as a result of some of those capital expenditures that you're planning on spending. So any questions or thoughts on those 2 funds? Those are mainly the 2 primary big funds of the township.
You used to give us the percentage on that one too, the public safety fund used to give us.
Yeah, I didn't calculate the percentage there. Dave, I think that percentage is it's over 100%, just on quick math here, but it's probably about 120% in terms of that fund balance. But as I mentioned, if we drop $500,000 on a fire truck, we're going to be back under that 100% and probably in that 70 range real quick. So last year it was around 70%. This year, like I said, it's probably close to 110, 120. But yeah, I expect that to drop back down with the expenditures in this year. So. Moving across the page, capital improvement fund, the really only activity there this year, there was no expenses, it was just interest, $22,000, $23,000, and that needs to happen. But at some point, we don't want to do it too soon, because then all of a sudden you're raising it up and down, and that's not a good idea. But at some point, that levy will likely come down based on the numbers I'm seeing here of $272,000 of revenue and $172,000 of debt service payments. So that's something to keep an eye on, but I think, is it PFM who you work with on the bond council? I can't remember who that is, but they'll calculate that.
Yes, we
Yeah,
have
it is
that
PFM.
amortization schedule.
When I was here, if you look just above that last line, which is the total net position of 1.5, you can kind of see the breakdown. There's four numbers there that make up that 1.5. Our unrestricted portion, which is really what you have to spend, essentially, to operate or fix or do whatever with those systems. Unrestricted portion for sewer is 53,000, and for water is 110. So a giant portion, I guess the key takeaway here is a giant portion of that net position for this particular fund is already tied up with either restrictions on debt service, which is the second number. And depreciate that. There's a spot in here where, but it's really quite meaningless, so I don't usually talk about it. But for these funds in particular, we have to account for it that way. So we are accounting for the infrastructure, and then we take about 1/50th of it every year and show it as an expense, and it'll whittle away at that $994,000 over the course of the next 40, 50 years.
Is that the anticipated life of it then at 50 years?
Yes.
So then
Yep.
it's worthless, we've got to rebuild in
Correct.
theory?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So, if we flip over to page 24, again, this is still water and sewer, and if we look towards almost smack dab in the middle of the page there, this kind of gives you an idea of how the fund actually did this year. It's above the line that where there's a line that says cash and cash equivalents, it's underlined. The line up above that where it says net increase, decrease in cash and cash equivalents for the year. So we experienced a slight increase in cash related to the water and sewer funds this year, $9,325. So that is the best indicator to me in this type of fund to say, actually, how are we doing? Are we, you know, and you're basically breaking even. You're putting away a little bit every year, but not a lot, you know? I mean, it's gonna take one line break or something like that to make this go negative in a hurry in terms of cash flow. So, again, those are reported a little differently, so I just wanted to point that out. I'll flip several pages ahead now, probably to the liking of the crowd here. Page 46 and 47. Page 46 and 47, I mentioned these earlier. There's a column on that, page 19 and 20, that are aggregated. This is the breakdown of that aggregation. So we have 5, 10, 12 different funds listed here that are considered non-major. Not a whole lot to talk about with these, to be honest. A couple things I do want to mention, one being the Village of Interlochen Special Assessment Fund. We've talked about that for several years. We did show a transfer in of $34,000, which came from the general fund, and that is the last year that is going to occur. So we're done with that, thankfully. I think we're all happy about that. A couple other things, if you look at page 47, so those are your special assessment funds specific to certain roads or lakes. I kind of had a talk with Marv about this. I think he's evaluating these, and there may be some where they may drop off for this year. I won't quote you on that, Marv, but I think at least you were considering you know, based on some of the balances that you have in some of these funds, that maybe there was an opportunity to maybe not assess for a year or two related to maybe one or two of them.
You're correct, and we did.
So-
We did not assess.
Okay, so that's the key takeaway there is just kind of keep track of those, and you can see each one of these, they're all operating positively in terms of change in fund balance, and they all have plenty of fund balance compared to their expenditures. So I wasn't gonna spend a lot of time talking about those unless someone had something particular that they wanted to ask. Last page I want to talk about here is 48 and 49. This is the DDA. Probably 49 primarily, which shows kind of how the DDA did this year. The tax base for the DDA continues to grow. It went up about 28,000 from the year before that they're capturing, which is good. Starting to see a little bit more projects. I think there was a collaborative project, if I remember correctly, between the township, the DDA, and another entity. So you're starting to see some bigger things and some things happening there using some of those funds. But the DDA has roughly $280,000 of fund balance at the end of June, as of June 30, 2025. So, any questions on those numbers? As I mentioned, and to Marv's question, I think from a financial standpoint, things, I mean, I didn't say anything bad about anything financially. So, hats off to you guys for managing that and making that happen, because these are all good numbers. So. Speaking,
Trent, hang on, we
Yeah.
got Dave.
All right, so you're done with the audit part. You know, throughout the year, we've been dealing with Andy and his bank recs, you know, driving us nutty. Did you guys figure out all these mysterious flows and get all that worked out to your satisfaction?
Yes, we did. I will say when we got here, all the bank accounts as of June 30 were reconciled, which is good. I do make one mention in one of the letters, and I'll speak to that in a minute, about a lot of things going back and forth with journal entries and things like that, where we could see where, you know, errors were made and then tried to be fixed and certain things like that, which made it a little difficult to sort through. But all in all, and I made a mention of it in another letter, I would say that there was, from our standpoint, from what we do as auditors coming in and doing the audit, there was an improvement in the condition of the records this year. And I
But
mentioned.
did you get to review Plant Moran's final discussion, whatever, to see if you agree with it?
I've had conversations with Plant Moran throughout this process. I've been on the phone with them several times, and it's been somewhat collaborative. I mean, they've been doing a lot of the work, but you know, I've kind of helped them with some of where to go with certain things and such. I didn't know what the final report will look like. I guess. Quite frankly, I didn't know that there was going to be a final report until just before the meeting tonight, but I will be interested to see it, obviously. You know, I think what we concern ourselves with as auditors is the end result, not necessarily how you get there. I mean, from a tax fund standpoint, which, and again, I don't know exactly what all the issues that they're going to speak on are, but from a tax fund standpoint, it's usually pretty straightforward for us. The money comes in, the money goes out, and what do we have left at the end of the year? So we always were starting at the end and reconciling, okay, why do I have $100,000 still left in the tax fund? And then working backwards to figure out who didn't get paid or who got overpaid and things like that. So, but again, along the way, we weren't necessarily concerned about how all the transactions that occurred to get to that point, I guess. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see the report and see if I agree with it.
Well, again, I'm concerned, like you are, going forward, that we don't have any mysterious entries that we don't know where they hit and where they come from. And is that something you can check during the year before the end, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's part of the reason why I've always, you know, focused on those bank reconciliations, because if the bank reconciliations worked, I mean, yeah, some of the entries may be in there and they may be posted possibly to the wrong account, but if the bank accounts reconcile every single month timely, the data can't, I mean, really can't be wrong. And that's always been the driving force behind why I focus on those bank reconciliations as a key piece to be done and done timely, because if those are done, you guys are looking at fairly accurate data for the most part. I mean, again, there could be something posted to a wrong account or something like that. I mean, in terms of us reviewing that periodically, it's possible. We got to be careful with independence in terms of what we can do and what we can't do, and make sure we're, you know, crossing T's and dotting I's along the way with that process. But yeah, it's possible.
That's it, Marv.
Okay, thank you. Trent, you had some
Yeah,
finishing
I
comments?
just want to go through the letters real quick. The first one is fairly easy. It's the Independent Auditor's Report on Internal Control. So it's the one with the long three-line title. There's two comments here. One's been in here for several years, and it's the same. It's in almost every audit I do, about the ability to prepare financial statements. So I'm not going to speak on that one much. The second one, which starts at the bottom, towards the bottom of the second page, is unfavorable budget variances. There was a little bit of an issue with how some of the expenditures related to the ARPA funds were accounted for. And this would have been one thing that we could have caught probably on the front end, Dave, to your point, if I would have looked at it a little, you know, in advance. I had given directive to Judy to put the ARPA expenditures all in one account, which happened. Unfortunately, it was a balance sheet account, not an expenditure account. So when I got there to do the audit, we had to move them to the expenses, and that caused some budget overages. Not a big deal, but that's why the comment is there. So we did move several, or, you know, significant amount of expenditures that weren't showing up on your profit and loss statement prior to us showing up there. So that's why that comment's there. The other letter that I sent is the communication with those charged with governance at the conclusion of the audit. Those comments, my comments there start in the bottom of the second page as well. There's a couple of them here that are just generic comments. The first one, which is controls over information technology. It's just become more and more prevalent with the audits we're doing and seeing, ransomwares, things like that. I'm sure maybe some of you have heard about the issues that the Wexford County Register of Deeds had. I don't think you could sell or buy a house in that county for about a year because they were ransomed. So it does happen, and there's various ways that they try to get your data and ultimately cause have financial ramifications. So just be vigilant on that. The second comment is escrow activity. We spent a lot of time during the audit going through the escrow, Marv, Andy, Judy, all of us going through trying to figure out what this escrow stuff was and where we should be at with it. So again, this isn't a new comment. I think it's been in here for the last several years, but just develop a system and stay on that system where we know whose money we're holding on to and whose money we don't, you know, once we've released them from those restrictions, if we pay it back. More or less just some sort of a ledger of some sort to keep track of that. And I think based on our conversations during the audit, I think that'll happen moving forward. So,
But did you get to reconcile that account that had way too big of a number in it that wasn't real? Did you guys, you and Marv, fix that? What was it down to?
We got it tailored down and whittled down. We
Yeah.
worked with Andy, Mary Jo, and Jason, and Roy, and pulling some of the historical information that we had from the previous administrator. We were able to account where the money came from and what money went out. So yes,
It's all reconciled?
from my understanding, yes, we know who has been reimbursed, who still has money holding.
Right.
We just did an adjustment not too long ago. One person made a request for a lower amount, and we can't release that, but he was grateful that we released the larger amount that we were holding because he finished the project. So yes,
So
Sorry.
he's talking about a system of controls.
Yes.
For you to be able to reconcile, you must have gone back onto something. Did we have anything in place?
We had well, now we have, when monies are received, Andy gives a copy to Mary Jo and Jason, and when checks are being cut, Judy verifies with Mary Jo and Jason
And-
and Andy.
So I'm gonna ask Trent, is that what you had in mind, or was it you like a logbook? Or a,
I just need to know at the end of what I would love to see at the end of the year is some sort of a ledger that shows we are holding on to X amount of dollars in escrow funds. And I want that to match what's actually in the bank account. So there's two types of reconciliations, right? So we have a liability account that shows up as a liability because we're holding on to somebody's money that is not ours. So it's not revenue, it's not that. So it shows as a liability, and let's just say that number is $80,000. The second piece of that reconciliation that needs to happen is that we need to have $80,000 in that bank account. And that's where we've gotten a little bit out of whack over the course of time. And part of it is because that particular bank account can't be, I think it's just a savings account and that may be part of the issue, is that you can't write checks out of it. So escrow gets released, we gotta write a check out of the general fund. Well, then the next step is that somebody's gotta transfer that money from that escrow account back into the general fund to make it whole. So we've gotten these things that are, we look at, we got $145,000 in cash in the bank account, but we only show that we have $80,000 of money that we owe to somebody. So the rest of the money needs to go back into the general fund.
well, that's what I'm asking. Do we need a system, or are there private computer Excel spreadsheet gonna cut it?
I think the Excel spreadsheet will cut it, but I think there's gotta be a reconciliation from that Excel spreadsheet back to the actual general ledger and BS&A to say, okay, at any given point, I should be able to walk into someone's office and say, let me see that ledger, and then walk into someone else's office and say, print me a balance sheet so I can see what we're showing on the BS&A ledger for it. And then at that point, those numbers should match at all times.
Do you know if BSNA has a module or a way of doing it all in its own, so they touch the escrow portion of the
Yes.
problem? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we're gonna have 3 primary individuals with the 4th checking the other 3 that are checking the other 2 that are checking the other 1. I wanna be definitely redundant, because it's, it's not our money. I wanna make sure that, we do everything appropriately and transparently. Or transparency wise.
Starting on the last page here, budget is the one at the top. I've already talked about that. It's in both letters essentially, so I'm not gonna hit that again. Public safety billing, this is one I talked to Andy and Mary Jo about a little bit here too as well. There's a couple invoices hanging out there that are for the public safety officer. I think that gets passed on to another entity. I think there's a couple outstanding invoices that need to be rendered, and maybe we've already got to the bottom of that at this point, but we had a conversation about that during the audit as well. Adjusting journal entries is the next comment, and that's what I alluded to earlier when Dave asked me about it. There's a lot of entries kind of going back and forth and re-entered and reversing and things like that, and it does make it a little difficult to figure out what's going on from time to time. So I just had a recommendation before we do journal entries, ask me or ask someone if this is the right way to do that. I think the debits and credits get a little confusing because the banking is the opposite from time to time, so that gets confused quite frequently at all the townships I work with. So the other comment there is the Earned Sick Time Act. This is a general comment. I feel good about where Green Lake Township's at with this, and I think you did get in touch with your attorney on it, but it was just more of a general comment because it's a new law. I put it in all my audits this year just to make sure that we're following that and staying up on that. And then the last comment, Again, I alluded to this earlier, but condition of accounting records. I did note that the condition of the accounting record was improved from years past, and would like to thank Judy and Andy and all those involved, Jill, Mary Jo, multiple people, with those efforts and making that.
Does that
Go a
mean
little
that when
bit
you
better.
go for a sample, they're all stapled together neat, and that's what you mean?
Not necessarily, no. I mean that there was less cleanup work from our standpoint this year than in past. I think we spent less time doing some of the bank rec things and certain things like that we had spent time doing in the past that we didn't do this year.
You guys speak in code, now we explain it. All right. Condition of the accounting records.
But the records were, but
Clear-
everything
clear
was
as
stapled
mud.
together and in perfect.
Oh, yeah,
condition.
it's always
At least the
stapled
clerk's
together,
office.
At least, yeah, at least in the
And no
clerk
coffee
world.
stains.
Exactly.
Well, maybe on a couple.
Any final questions or thoughts for me? I think I'm done. Sherry, you got anything for me? Oh, Pat?
Yeah, no, wait.
I wasn't skipping you, Sherry. Pat raised his hand first, so I thought, well, maybe I get him. I figured I'd hear from you, Sherry.
Well, this is easy, I took care of it.
Okay.
Pat?
Pat?
You're all set?
No, I got
No,
my
she's
question.
gonna wait for you.
His whole paper's highlighted.
You mentioned just below that, management discussion and analysis and budgetary comparison schedule.
Mm-hmm.
What are those?
So the management discussion and analysis, that's like pages 4 through 12 of the report. It's basically just kind of summarizing some of the highlights and certain things of the audit. And then the budgetary comparison schedule is found on page 43. So that would show your original budget, your final budget, and then your actual results for the two major funds that require a budget, which is the general fund and the public safety fund. So it's just referencing some things that were required, it's considered required supplementary information, so it's gotta be in the audit, and that's what we put in the audit.
Okay.
And the journal entries thing, should we adopt some kind of policy, or is there, a system that's been adopted to sort of?
The best system in place is that those get approved by someone probably. So someone decides that they're gonna put the journal entry in before it can actually get put in, it gets approved by someone else. That's really the best system. How practical is it? I don't know. Depends on how many journal entries you have and who's the approver, I guess. But yeah, those journal entries, it's never a bad idea to have someone approve journal entries.
Do your other clients like save them up in a list and then they call you once a month or something?
Just on the ones that they have questions on, I think, from time to time. And it varies from client to client. Some people call me all the time and ask me about the journal entries.
Or at
and
least they
some-
call you prior to them doing it, right?
Yeah, usually, yeah. Or it's, hey, can you fix this? This doesn't look right. Give me another journal entry to fix my journal entry. But yes, there's some communication from time to time on that, for sure.
In my
And we
office,
have Judy and Andy.
in my office, what I do is I always email Trent and
Mhm.
ask him either to help me with it, or before I do the journal entry, I'll say, does this look right to you before I enter it? So,
Yeah, and now.
And we have some
Andy and
reoccurring
Judy.
journal entries that are in the computer with placeholders of a penny. So I know I take this penny and turn it into the dollar I want, I take this penny and turn it into the dollar I want, and I'm crediting and debiting the appropriate accounts. Some of the confusion on my part was, am I crediting the account or debiting the account? And then I do it, and it would do the wrong thing of what I needed it to do, so then I have to reverse it, then I have to do it again. So instead of one journal entry, it was 3. So by the reoccurring journal entries, it takes care of a lot of that problem.
BS&A does not allow you to change a journal entry. So if you do it once, and you gotta do it the other way, and then the other, undo it, so it does become a little bit noisy in terms of looking at the general ledger, and you see the same number going back and forth like 15 times, and it's like, I don't, what's going on here type of
And
thing.
at that point, what's going on?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right. So-
Okay. Pat, anything else?
No.
Okay, Anybody else before Sherry? We're gonna save the best for last.
That last sheet that you were just looking at,
Yeah,
just tell me what you mean by that last paragraph, the restriction on use.
yeah, so basically this, this letter is intended for you as board members essentially only is what it's meant for.
The other one too? Or just
Yes.
This one?
This one is a little bit more, I don't know, public knowledge, I guess, if you want to say. I mean, either one of them are fine, to be public knowledge, and a lot of times they do get posted to the state of Michigan's website regardless. Both of these will be found there, so, this one is historic, a lot of times this one is just included with the audit. I break it out separately, but, a lot of times that goes right in with the audit. So this is a little bit more, I guess, public versus the one communication with those charged with governance, which is the board,
Right.
only.
So that really shouldn't be put out is all.
Yeah, it shouldn't, but again, the state makes us put it on their website, so I don't really know what we can do to avoid that anyway, you know what I
Because you
mean?
gave it to us as public record, and you're not an attorney, so it's not
It's
protected by that.
foilable. It's always been
Yeah.
foilable.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay, that's all?
What? I mean, okay. Thank you, Sherry.
All right, Marvin.
Got off easy.
Okay.
All right,
With that, safe travels, sir, back to your home base.
appreciate it, appreciate the
All right,
time.
thank you.
Sorry for the lengthy presentation, crowd,
That's good.
students, so. Have a
Oh,
good night,
yes.
appreciate you allowing me to be of service to the township. Thanks.
Thank you. Yep.
Thanks, Trent.
Okay, the next item is reports. I do recall seeing Chief Case. We have your written reports, Chief. Is there anything that you would like to add or highlight? It'd be greatly appreciated.
Yes, thank you. I've got a couple things. First thing I'd like to address right off, so address the board and the audience for recognition. So the board back in May, I think, brought Mr. Lackey on as a not knowing anything general public person, and he's got an official title now. So come on up, Tony.
He was a lackey. Now he's
So this is
Now he's
Tony.
lackey with title.
Again, some of you may have seen Tony, whether it was this year, he was our DJ master for the Halloween party. So in his private life, he's got his own DJ business and is very busy with that. So he was a hit at the Halloween party this year because he gave us our entertainment and music and had all the kids dancing. So that was great.
Baby Shark.
Yeah, but Tony finished the EMT class in November, and first time out the gates, passed his EMT test, so one and done. And now he's already into fire school. So I wanted to give Tony this certificate of achievement of passing his EMT certification. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Tony.
Good job.
I'll also mention that Tony did get to present for his students. He was selected by his peers for the EMT class graduation to present on behalf of the students, and did the video for that too, and he did an awesome job. So actually made my heart happy having a department member that was elected by his student, by the rest of the staff, so, or the rest of the students. So pretty good honor also. So thanks, Tony. The other thing before the board meeting, and I don't think anything big in November. Jeff Lenton and Doug Strong also both completed their Fire Instructor 1 program. So they're on the testing now. So that's a new prerequisite for fire officer training now. So you can't get into fire officer training without Fire Instructor 1 now. Doug Strong already has his officer training, but it's kind of new since how he had the old fire instructor or fire officer training, and Jeff needs that for entry into that. So they completed that. I think it was 3 weeks, 3 different training sessions. So So the other thing that I presented to all the board members before, I did not have a time to get this to Judy to put on the agenda. So I'm asking the board to approve, and I explained it in the letter, electronic software for fire programs and as well as EMS. Our problem, or our current situation is the way we've had the system is that we use two different software programs to do kind of one thing. So we have to, being that we're a fire department, we also do EMS. Those are two different databases as far as who we report to. So in the state of Michigan, we have to report to the state. That's part of our EPCR. So that is a free software that's been provided by the state once they made it mandatory. Well, the state just switched that software program this year, which to stay on the old system we need to buy into, or we've got to retrain all of our staff on a whole new software system that the state could theoretically change every year. So not a great thing. In the fire program that we use, is sunsetting NFIRS. NFIRS is the state database that does all fire activity in the nation. Well, that's getting sunsetted after 50 years. The state is, or the federal government is no longer going to allow that repository. They're switching to a new one, which has now created another issue that we've got to be upgraded to. We currently pay fire programs for that software, and I think it's a good time to merge to one so that we don't have redundancy for the crews of doing two reports. So on every EMS call, we have to do a fire report and an EMS report for the same call, which is, we can now, on my proposal, go to this software, which will allow us to do one report, that's it. And be able to cover both the state reporting that we need to do and the federal reporting that we need to do for that same call. As well with this, the same platform is going to allow us to do scheduling, is going to allow us to do some rig checks, some of the other management things that we need to do and account for different programs. So I did have Supervisor Radke put this budget adjustment in, and you guys approved it in July. It was part of the new budget year, so the funding is there for it in the current budget. It was accounted for already, so it's just time, and it's above my spending amount. So I'm here talking to the board about approval of this. So with that, that's the only other thing I had.
Well, give us the number then.
So is that
You could have
the-
just said, I want new software. 10 minutes ago.
I like to be a little thorough in that explanation. So this year's cost, the first time would be $8,193.50. That's not, we have one-time cost built in, which some of that is our training. Some of that is them pushing all the data forward for our other system. But the reoccurring, so the year after next, so our next budget year, it would be $6,206.50. So we have about $2,000 extra this year, that first initial startup, training, education, database consolidation, and that kind of stuff. So $81,93.50.
So Marv, is it your position we actually have to approve this expenditure?
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we approve the purchase of the software for $8,193.50 as presented.
Support.
We got a motion and support to authorize the purchase of the software as requested. Question, Sherry?
Yeah, this is a new agenda item, and we don't have a full quorum tonight.
It's a regular meeting, so we don't need a full quorum. We can take up any action we
It's only special
we desire.
meetings that your rule applies.
Yes.
That we're up on
Only special
Yes.
meetings.
adding.
Yep, so we're
Okay.
good. Yep.
You're lucky, chief.
Any other questions, comments? Pat?
Does this software have a track record, or is it all?
Yeah, so it's, so we went through, Thanks, Pat, for mentioning that. So we went through and we trialed a couple different ones. The crews, we did demonstrations. And ESO is one that we have numerous agencies within the county. They're relatively large, and that's why actually one of the costs on here we didn't have to pay for, because I believe Grand Traverse Metro already paid for the 911 integration with Grand Traverse County Central Dispatch. They'd already paid that. So now that's already in the 911 center, we don't have to pay it. So that was one nice thing. So yeah, Pat, there is plenty of track record with ESO out there, and pretty reputable. They're familiar with our billing company, our EMS billing company too. They have a relationship with them.
Very good. Any other questions?
I do.
Oh,
And this is a network-based, cloud-based?
Yes.
So if something happens to our servers, that information is still out
It's
there?
still there, but also if you are, so you log in through the portal, so even if you have some of it done, it's also captured though. But it doesn't do the hard uptake until you have network connectivity.
I know that was one of the big concerns with the county when they got their hacked, was they want to go to a lot of the cloud-based stuff, so their server isn't the vulnerable point.
Yeah, yep.
okay.
Thank you.
Roll call it, Judy.
Merrick,
Yes.
McDonald, Biganowski. Kramer, yes. West
Yes.
and Radke.
Yes. Motion carries. Proceed, Chief.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, though? We'll move on. I don't see Road Commission, anything of that nature there. Our community police officer, Deputy Mark Nofke, had an injury that he received yesterday or the day before. He's out indefinitely at this point in time until he sees his surgeon. So at this point in time, it's the best we can do. We're keeping close tabs with Mark to check on the timing, and Sheriff Shea as well.
Now,
He
will
won't
we
give us
have,
a replacement?
I was gonna say, do we get a replacement since he's gonna be gone?
I just talked to him at 4:30 today.
So you don't have an answer yet?
Because you know we're gonna get
We
called.
broke the old one.
We broke the old one. No, I just talked to him. What time was it, Roy? 4:30-ish? So I will get back with you, and I'll email you the status of
All
such.
right,
So we're waiting for an MRI, or what, but
all right.
we'll move on. The next item is public comments. I would ask that you rise, go to the podium, state your name and address for the record of your residence, and limit your comments to 3 minutes, and direct said comments through me. Is there any member of the public wishing to speak at this time? There is another opportunity later on in the agenda.
Wow.
Seeing none.
Are you all right, Scott?
I was going to ask Caskey that too. Postponed business, treasurer bank rec issues. Status?
We're still waiting on a response, or on that final letter from Plant Moran. And Thursday, we're going to be working with Courtney again. There's 2 minor issues I can't get to reconcile on the tax account. Everything else is reconciling. Know where it is, just don't know how to reconcile it.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, we'll move on to new business, the Michigan National Guard, Michigan Army National Guard Innovative Readiness Training Program. We have a Park and Rec member that had her significant other was part of this program, and they were looking for a project to do. Instead of sending them to Camp Grayling for 2 weeks, they are more than willing to come to Green Lake Township and help us with the trail that we've been working on for quite some time. Pat can elaborate on that. But in order to do so, we are required to put a notice in the paper, the non-compete or the competitive pricing type of information, because they'll come in and do it for free, and they want to make sure that we don't offend our other contractors. And talking with some of the other contractors, basically told them, if we don't get it done for free, we can't afford to do it, so we're not gonna do it. So they said, okay, good luck, have the Michigan Army National Guard.
So you're telling us
Proceed.
that you've already done it, or you want to do it, or why
I
is
want to
this-
do it.
I make a
And
motion
here's
to
a
authorize the
resolution.
publication of the, uh-oh,
The public notice
Public
to
notice,
construction contractors,
construction.
laborers, and private contractors.
and
Second.
any other signatures needed.
Okay, we have a motion by Merrick, supported by Baganowski, to proceed with the public notice. Questions, Pat?
I was wondering if we could add 2 more words to the same sentence that's got the highlight in it.
This thing's been changed like
Okay.
50 times.
This is the first time I've seen it.
The line below the yellow mark thing, where it says Village of Interlochen, comma, I'd like to add the words "and otherwise" in Green Lake Township.
You have that, Mary Jo?
Yep,
She's the one that does the corrections for me.
I don't get what he's putting it in there for.
He's a lawyer.
To make it not misleading.
So he touched
that
it.
sentence the way it is, it sounds like it's all happening in the village, whereas the next sentence describes it more accurately. It's improvements are from the airport to the village. So just sync up those 2 sentences so they don't sound like they're saying 2 different
Okay,
things.
what was the word you want to put in there then?
And
And
otherwise,
otherwise.
yeah. They get paid by the word, the attorneys.
Is that your final?
That's my final.
Okay.
Sold.
Any other questions or comments on that?
So we need a motion.
That was my motion.
That was your motion that
That was
included the
exactly my
otherwise?
motion.
Okay, and is that the support you had, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, roll call it, please.
Radke,
Yes.
West,
Yes,
McDonald, Merrick,
Yes.
Biganowski.
Yes.
Kramer, yes.
Okay. Motion passes, 6-0.
I
Next
make a
item.
motion, we adopt resolution 120922025, the installment purchase agreement for the fire truck, so we can keep moving with financing as per directed by the board previously.
Second.
We got a motion by Merrick, supported by Kramer, to adopt resolution 1209225.1, installment purchase agreement for the fire engine that we've approved 2.5 years ago, Chief? Okay.
Should be here last December.
Yeah, so with this needs to be done just for the bonding process. That's a requirement that's been asked of us by Roger Swets and Warren Kramer, who is our financial and our bonding attorney, bonding counsel. Any other discussion? Pat?
Yeah, hoping to have our attorneys get involved in this, because there's gonna be a contract to buy it, and there's gonna be a contract for financing, there's gonna be an assignment.
Yes, Michael Belia and Catherine Kaufman are involved. And from our attorneys, yes, protecting our interests.
We're already on that, Pat.
Yep.
They sent us a final something today.
Yeah, well, then we'll have the contracts that you've already authorized, but with our attorney, our legal review, our legal team.
Because if the down payment's gonna happen before that can happen early.
Nope.
Everything's gonna happen at the same time.
Correct.
As per direction from Roger Swett.
Yep, and Michael Belia, which is our attorney.
He also said the same thing, not to give money.
Yep.
And so did Warren. Otherwise, there's higher interest rates. We don't want that.
You might wanna mention to them, like, this possible, that escrow, if we don't get, if we're not getting the title, to escrow that title within the state of Michigan, and if we are getting the title, we should escrow a discharge of the lien.
Of the release, yes. Yep,
That was in.
that one I remember. That term I remember.
That
So-
comes on a pumper tanker issue.
Yeah, learned the lesson. Any other comments? Roll call it. Judy?
West,
yes,
McDonald,
Yes.
Merrick,
Yes.
Biganowski,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, and Radke.
Yes, motion carries. Resolution adopted. Next item is Ben, a board review member, Ben Komersko, who served the community for a couple decades, has retired, and we do have a volunteer. I was kind of surprised. Mr. Dude was made application. He's in the front row. We had an opportunity, the board of review and myself had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Dude today. well, he interviewed the board of review to see whether or not we were qualified to, for him to serve, and we likewise interviewed him as well in that regards. And my recommendation is he will fit in very well with our board of review. He's something that I've been looking for. So with that, I would recommend that we appoint John Dude as board of review. His credentials is a CPA and an attorney.
I make a motion we appoint John Dude to the Board of Review per the supervisor's recommendation.
Second.
We got a motion by Merrick, supported by Wes. The only pitfall is he knows Dave.
I
We told
withdraw.
him.
Why you gotta tell people?
Now I withdraw that motion. Just kidding.
No.
We
With
send
that
our
said,
condolences.
all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Sorry, Dave.
Dave didn't say no.
Yeah. Okay, that concludes our new business item. Now we're on to the discussion, which correlates with the millages that the township put out and the voters approved back in 2018. The timeline is coming to an end in 2026. It's got to come up, and with the legislative activities at this point in time, not knowing whether we're going to change our primary from August to June.
It won't be
March?
next year, it'll be August.
Yeah, so with that, we wanted to start working on the renewal language, which was included in your packet, so I just wanted to bring that forward so we can discuss it, and we can have some candid discussion about the millage rates come January. So this is just for the discussion purposes, that you have it in there, review it, and come back with your questions or comments and what you think would be a valid timeline to make another request of our voters. Is there any current discussions on any of the information supplied in that regards?
Well, you gave us a full rollback sample, right?
Yes, these are just the drafts and what was presented, with the exception on the one bottom left of the fire millage page, which is, that verbiage was denied in 26 or 17, and so it got revamped, and the millage rate's 0.9 instead of the 1.00.
Right, but you want to do a rollback on this one as well? Or just straight up, oh, this,
That's a fire station, so we already got that. We don't need to work with that because that's a ever-moving.
all right, well, you said
bond
two,
level.
but you only gave us one.
We got two. We got
There's two on
fire,
there.
There's two,
and
top and
EMS.
bottom.
It'd be the top right, I'm sorry, that would be removed. Then
Right.
we have
Right, but
the
you gave us
ALS
sample
advanced-
language for just the heavy rollback for,
The general operating,
oh, general operating.
yes. One's for the township, two is for emergency services.
All right,
So something that we can discuss, whether we take it forward or not, that's something that we could look at our next meeting. Unless you have any further comments now, and if not, if you think of it between now and our next meeting, please reach out to me. The other information we have in our packet is correspondence. It's from the Traverse City Area Public Schools 2026 Summer Tax Resolution. Andy will come back with the cost and the value in that regards for a resolution in the near future. I'm not sure if they're gonna have it ready next month, or do you think they'll have it ready?
I am not sure.
Okay, so we'll bring that
Should
once
be
we get
next
the
month.
numbers. Any questions, comments on that? Is there any additional correspondence? Well, by gosh and by golly, well, we're gonna come to the last section of public comment. Again, the same rules apply. I would ask that you stand, be recognized, walk to the podium, state your name and address of residence for the record. Limit your comments to 3 minutes and direct them towards the board through me. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak? Yes, ma'am. Oh, you're not? Oh,
Jill Coverdale, 5648 Renwood Way. Just one comment as you are considering the millages going forward. Back when we originally approved them several years ago, for the ALS, the Advanced Life Support, we wanted to consider going forward what incremental revenue we'd be getting from billing for advanced life support. You know, I have requested several times at these meetings, could we have a rep from the billing company kind of come and tell us what we're really seeing, because I know we do get quite a bit of revenue every month for that, because that was kind of a wild card of not knowing, and it might have been able to drop that millage. So I would just ask that you consider that and get some good data.
Yes, well, typically I will not engage or respond to public comment, but Chief Case, did you hear the public comment? We'll advance with that information. Thank you. Is there any additional public comment? Yes, sir.
Scott Richards, 11802 Fredmar. Good to see some young people in here tonight. I hope you guys come back. I hope you bring some friends too. When I'm out there door knocking with people, I tell them to vote no. I vote no on all millages. I like to see a little more responsibility with our tax dollars. That's all. And the final thing I'd like to say is Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all the Interlochen residents, to the board, and to our firefighters, EMS. And I hope God blesses you really good this year. And I got some Bible tracts on the back table. Grab one on your way out if you like.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment, Mr. Caskey?
Already.
We have one more public comment coming up, and name and address of residence for the record. 3 minutes.
Case, 8901 Summit City Road in Kingsley. I forgot one important thing. The engine is in Michigan. Okay? So it is in Allendale, it's at the dealership. They had one pump lever that they had to take a look at, but other than that, it is in Michigan. And we're all set for lettering when that comes up, so I just wanted to update. It is real, it does exist, it is in Michigan, so we're close.
So is Santa going to be able to fit that on his sleigh?
I don't know, we'll see. I don't think the bonds will be sold by then, but maybe we can take a ride down and take a look at it.
About
there
two
you
and a
go.
half years in the making?
Yes.
About 30 months?
Yeah, and we aren't unique. That's the unfortunate thing about that. This wasn't just a Green Lake Township thing. That's a fire apparatus sales thing. So if you hadn't paid attention to that, it actually hit Senate and Congress, and there was actually Senate hearings on that. So, yeah, a little bit deeper. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Any other public comment? I would, hearing none, seeing none, I'm adjourn this meeting at 6:35 PM. Thank you all.
Merry
Be safe out
Christmas.
there. Yes. And do you need signatures?